everyone. This is Marina with How I Got Here, and I'm interviewing my best friend, my sister, my soul tribe, Erica Janelle.
Hello.
Hi, thank you again for being here. Today's a very special interview. It's not just, our little day-to-day routine, talks about life, routine, relationships, or any other topic we talk about. Today, we're celebrating Erica's book that she has finally published. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It is an autobiography about her life, and it wasn't easy. And I remember the first time we met, which was last year in May, you were just talking about it. You were just saying that back then, I'm writing a book, it's still in the works, like the beginning pages, I think, right? And now it's finally here, and it's been a year. And I know that the book itself wasn't easy, because when you write an autobiography, it's not a walk in the park. There's something that people can take away and be like, wow, I cannot believe she overcame and faced everything and still the person that you are today. So the name of the book is called The Voice of a Victim, and it's overcoming generational curse of sexual assault and incest.
Yes.
Right? Just
yes.
The name itself
heavy
is so heavy. And I know how I always tell you, I cannot even comprehend the whole concept of how you are as a person, because you don't wear your problems at all. Like, I've known you for over a year now, and you never, unless you talk about it, I don't know, because we're always goofing around. Even right now, before I pressed record, we were laughing, just picking on each other. You
right.
are such an incredible person. And I'm so proud of the fact that you had put your thoughts to paper and really poured out your heart on the topic, several topics that no one, including myself, I would not have the guts to write it. So can you tell me a little bit about what made you write it and how you felt writing it?
So I'll start with what made me want to write the book.
Yes.
As you know, I definitely went through a lot of mental and emotional issues dealing with my history within my own personal life and my struggles and things that I dealt with. But then having learned as a result of certain situations that happened that are mentioned in the book, how deeply rooted these issues of sexual assault and incest were in my family. It was one of those things where I knew, it was like it clicked in my spirit, that in order for us to be able to get to a place where we can overcome as a family, we have to, one, stop keeping secrets, because when you keep secrets, it perpetuates that cycle. And so that cycle continues. And the perpetrators feel more bold and more emboldened to continue that process of hurting and damaging people. But when you are at a place in your life where you speak up and you speak your truth and you tell what's happening and what has happened to you, and they feel threatened, they're less likely to feel as free to do the things they did. So my personal experience, I couldn't write this book about my personal experience without talking about people from my past and then generations after me that were still affected by this.
Right.
And I knew that I had to stand up and do something to end this cycle. And to me, this gave me my voice. That's why it's called Voice of a Victim. I gave myself a voice because I was the kid that did tell. And unfortunately, things still happen even though I told. But it's so many people and so many adults, people walking around, males and females, that have had these situations happen to them, that have never said a word, and they buried it on the inside. And so I give voice to those victims as well, not just my story, not just my family, but voice for victims all over the world that don't feel free enough to talk about their story or even want to admit it to themselves, because it's a hard thing to admit.
It's not, yes, it's very, very painful and hard. It's not just admitting, is a very huge step into, I guess, accepting, like, you know what, because, like you said, running away from it is one thing, but when you accept it, it hits hard.
Mhm.
And like you said, you're overcoming generational curse, and that is something that, to me, in my opinion, only a strong person can face, because you're not overcoming your curse. It's the curse that came from other generations that
Mhm.
you're now facing on behalf of all the other victims. And let me define victims.
Mhm.
A person that, I mean, the way I know you, you're not a victim who feels sorry for themselves. You're
No,
a
I don't
person that,
consider myself a victim, but
right,
I'm a victor. I
right,
used to be a victim. I'm not a
mhm,
victim anymore. I'm healed.
right.
But go ahead.
Right. So, no, I mean, you've said it. You're Victor. You're a person who's facing all your fears. And no matter how painful everything has been for you during that time, because it's your youth, it
Mhm.
basically traumatized your entire concept of the world and people around you. And being the person that you are today, I hope and pray that this book reaches every corner of the world, because every single person, even if I personally did not go through something like that, the fact that you're talking about generational curse, the fact that you're talking about facing the fear, the fact that you're talking about it, listen, it happened to me, I faced it, I accepted it, and I learned to heal from it, and now I want to take all that and turn it into a purpose to help everyone else where they're still not having enough power to do what you did. Face
Right.
it, that's the whole point of this book, is that you're giving an acknowledgement to other women that I'm in the same boat, but I did it, and so can you.
And so
Or
can you.
men,
And that's
right?
the point. It's not just my audience is primarily women, because women, I can relate to women. I'm not a man, so it's hard for me to really relate to the struggles. Because, and honestly, I feel like it's a even more challenging struggle sometimes for men that have been victims of sexual assault,
Right,
because it happens all the time, and they are automatically taught to not show emotions
right.
and not express feelings. They're taught to suppress and to not show emotion naturally, which is sad.
Very sad.
But that's the way society has raised our men. And I can only imagine the level of trauma that that does for them, where they have to bury it really deep.
Mhm.
But my ministry has been made primarily to women, but I acknowledge men as well. I actually want to um, eventually interview some guys that are bold enough to talk about it, because it's not something that men are comfortable talking about. It
Right,
makes them feel like, society is going to view them as gay if they're straight heterosexual men, and they're going to look at, be looked down upon if they're weak. That's how the society perceives them. But let's be clear, it's not a form of weakness. You're actually the opposite. You're actually the strongest type of human. There are many people that have been through sexual assault and incest and trauma, whether it's domestic violence, whatever it is, that blew their brains out because they couldn't handle it.
right,
It takes a strong person to acknowledge it. It takes a strong person to not only acknowledge it, but then do the work to heal. And so for me, a big part of my journey, and one of the things that I talk about a lot, is my journey with therapy and my journey with, coaching. I'm a life coach myself. I became a life coach based on wanting to help people understand how to overcome their trauma, because I've been through so many traumas. I've been through domestic violence. I've been through incest. I've been through sexual assault. I've been through, pretty much everything you can think of. I've had family members murdered. I've had all of the types of trauma that you can think of. I've lost a baby when I was 9 months pregnant. I've gone through so many different types of trauma. So that was what birthed my purpose into becoming a coach to begin with. And then, as a result of some of the situations that are mentioned in the book, then I birthed my nonprofit.
right,
And my nonprofit is called Overcoming Abuse Through Healing, because that's how you overcome, through
right.
healing.
And that's
And it's
important.
called Oath. We take the oath to guide you through your healing.
Right.
That's my motto. That's what I stand for. That's why I do what I do. That's why I'm so passionate about it. So I don't mind being the person that, for lack of better terms, is the martyr,
Right.
to put myself out there so that other people can understand, you know what? I'm not alone. I don't have to feel dirty. I don't have to feel ashamed. I don't have to feel guilty. I don't have to feel like I'm alone, because, oh my God, somebody else has gone through it and now she's giving voice to it.
Exactly. And that's an incredible power that God has given you, and that you had faced every single test for this purpose. You know, we all come into this world for something. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be something, hey, listen, whatever it is, right? Because it takes a very strong and spiritual person like yourself to actually be where you are today. And I hope everyone who's listening and who meets you doesn't envy you, but actually is inspired and, you know, grateful to be around someone like you, because you make another person feel empowered. You
It's
know, we
definitely nothing to envy. I would not wish
Mhm.
this journey on anyone,
Exactly.
but it's my
Exactly.
journey and it's my truth.
Mhm.
And I want to make sure that I don't neglect to speak this part, because in doing this book and going through my author coaching, I had an author coach that kind of coached me through how to articulate some of these things. It did so many things. One of the most important things that it did was, not only did it unbury things that I had even forgot about my own experience, because I had buried it so deep. When my situation happened around 9 or 10 years old, I buried it so deep. So there were parts of my memory that had come back to
Right.
me. And there were
Right.
things that started to make sense to me about why I did certain things and why I conducted my life a certain way as a younger person, not realizing that that was a defense mechanism based on my trauma. But the biggest thing that I learned and I gathered and I gained from this book was I was able to give voice to some of my extremely close family members that had gone through trauma that's way worse than mine.
You gave them
And
hope.
yeah, and I'll never forget when my mother came to me and said, you know, that was supposed to be a book I was supposed to write, but God knew I wasn't strong enough to do it. And I'm so thankful to you for writing it. That to me spoke volumes, because her story was the one that I was the most afraid to tell. But I couldn't talk about a generational curse without talking about her story, because her story, it still makes me teary eyed to think about it, because it's far worse than most people would ever even imagine.
Right.
And to hear her feel free and be able to support why I'm doing what I'm doing, that meant everything to me. So I didn't care that some of my family members may feel upset with me for sharing
Right.
family secrets. I didn't care that um you know, certain people wouldn't like what I was saying or what I was sharing, because that gave me the freedom to be able to express, because this is why I understood in my time of healing, my time of therapy, my time of prayer, I understood that the reason why the cycle continues is because of silence.
Right.
And you have to stop giving power to silence and give power to your voice. The
Right.
reason why it continues, the reason why it becomes a generational curse is because nobody wants to talk about it. It's such a taboo topic. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about trauma. We want to talk about sunshine and rainbows. You
Right.
know, we don't want to talk about drama. We don't want to talk about trauma. We want to talk about how life is good and how things are great. But that's not the reality. The reality is there are some painful things that shapes us into who we are as individuals. And you have to be willing to knock down that fear and open yourself up to vulnerability enough to be able to know that you're not sharing this to tell people your business, because anybody that knows me knows I'm very private,
Right.
extremely private. There are people that are extremely close to me that don't know anything about certain things about my life. And that's because I'm just a private person by nature. So for me to step out and do coaching and put myself out there and to write a book and to start a nonprofit is truly not something that I wanted to do, but it was something I was called to do.
Right.
And my mom understood that.
I guess after you were healing, is that when you started realizing that you should put it into, you know, something more like writing a book about it?
Well, I did. It was a part of my healing process, because I've always been a proponent of therapy. I've been in
Mhm.
therapy for many years.
Right.
But when I went through some of the traumas that I went through, one of the more recent things happened a few years ago. This is not old news. This is like recent.
Right.
And as I was going through therapy, it was just like I just felt in my spirit that God wanted me to take my message and share it with the world. I don't know how this book is going to reach the world, but I know that it's going to. Like, I just know. I can't tell you how. It's in my spirit. I can just tell that it's going to reach the people that it needs to reach. And not everybody's going to like it. I'm not going to be popular. I don't give a damn about being popular.
Exactly.
I never did. It's very hard for me to be this vulnerable, especially as I'm building other parts of my career, like, what I do professionally in human resources. I don't want people to know that stuff about me. What I do as a singer, I don't want people to know that stuff about me. But guess what? There's so many people out here that you see on TV or that you see walking down the street that have gone through the same thing, if not worse, and they're hiding it.
But you're an inspiration to them. That's how they have to look at you. The fact that you're doing so many beautiful things and you're doing something that you love, singing, coaching, but here you are opening up about something that is so, like, it makes you a target, basically. People could literally look down at you and put you down and laugh at you or insult you, or even go after your family.
I could give two craps, because at the end of the day, I'm free. They're still in bondage.
Exactly.
I'm free.
And that's the greatest power of a person, is when they're free from their mental bondage.
Yes, I'm free. I did the work. I took the time. I did the time to heal. And also, I will mention that I did talk to my family members about it.
Right. Okay.
Before I released the book, and I let them know that this is what I knew God was calling me to do. And like I said, when my mom gave me permission, that was everything that I needed.
Exactly. That was the key to success.
It doesn't really matter to me what everybody else thinks. I can't manage people. I've never been a person that I'm not I don't care about being a people pleaser. I'm okay to be I don't have a reputation. Like Jesus said, he's of no reputation, because if you try to keep a reputation, you're always going to be worried about, oh my God, I can't do this. Oh my God, I can't do that. Oh my God, I can't say that. No, I'm going to be me. I'm authentically me, unapologetically, authentically me. And I'm that way in the everyday life, as you know.
And I'm so lucky that I met someone like you.
You tease me about it all the time. You said you give no fucks. I don't. I can't even find the fucks if I were looking for them.
That's what I love about you, because
I don't care that you don't like me. I don't care. I'm not here to be your fangirl. I don't care. Or you to be my fangirl, by the way. But I'm here to do what it is that God called me to do.
Of course.
And it's something that I had to do. So I don't have to answer to anybody but God for it.
And I hope, listen, from the bottom of my heart, I hope that this book does reach to every single soul on this planet who needs it. Because if I'm reading this book, it may not be directly talking to me, but I could know somebody who's in the same situation. Or there's a lot, I know for a fact there's a lot in this book that I could learn from, because you're talking about facing so many things, overcoming so many things. It coincides with everyday life, regardless.
Everyday life. But also I give tips and I give signs and things that you should pay attention to.
Right.
Because a lot of times when children are going through this stuff, you may see some of these signs, but you don't know why they're doing what they're doing. It'll give kind of a rationalization behind some of the signs that may trigger you to start asking questions. It talks about parents talking to their children. It talks about, having the conversations, open dialogue. I do that with my children.
Right.
I have open dialogue with my children about all of this stuff, and it makes them uncomfortable. They don't like it, but that's my responsibility as a parent.
They don't like it now, but when they get older, they're going to appreciate it, because growing up, we didn't have that with our moms. Most children didn't.
Right. And that's the thing. So we're done with the silence. We're done with the trying to look a certain way and care about your reputation. I don't give a damn about that. I want you to be free, because you can have all the reputation, the best reputation in the world, but you're in bondage. And there's nothing more beautiful than being free, to be authentically yourself and tell your truth, to speak your voice, to speak your truth, and to have a voice. So many people are silenced.
Because the same people that will tell you don't do it are the same ones who will say, oh my God, thank you for actually doing, because it helped me. Because people don't even know what that could do for them. Like you said, it touches different aspects of people's lives. It's not just one thing. Yes, it's a voice of a victim, but it touches everything that we go through on a regular basis. So it's going to be the same people that will literally be like, wow, Erica, I'm so proud of you. And they better say that. Otherwise,
You're going to get them.
I'm
No,
going to get them.
it's really not about that. Like, I don't even need people to be proud of me. I don't even need the notoriety of it. I just want to make a difference. I literally, I'm launching my retreat this October for victims of sexual assault. I'm targeting rape crisis centers in the DMV area, as well as domestic violence centers. And I'm trying to bring 75 women together, and we're going to do a whole weekend of just healing.
Wow.
Because I want people to be free. That's why I do what I do. It's not about any of this other stuff. I don't care about being popular. I don't care.
I know.
The people that God has in my life that are meant to love me will love me. The people that don't love me, they can kiss it.
Exactly. And how would people, if they want to buy your book, where would they?
So my book is on Amazon platform in both hardback and ebook copy, as well as I just signed a global deal. So it's going to be in pretty much everywhere. Bookstores can order it, Target, Walmart.
Nice.
So I don't know when the stores will start ordering the books, but you can definitely, for right now, get it on Amazon. But it is actually going to have a global reach, because, like I said, my vision is to reach the world. So
amen to that.
You'll be seeing me everywhere.
Perfect. That's how it should be. Perfect. I'm going to put all your information in the description so everybody knows. And guys, please reach out if you have any questions. Recommend any one of your friends or family members that need support, help, guidance with any kind of traumatizing experiences that I have faced. And also buy the book.
Buy the book. Hello, everyone. It's Erica Janelle, and the moment we've been waiting for so long is finally here. I am releasing my book, Voice of a Victim, Overcoming the Generational Curse of Sexual Assault and Incest in the Family, this Friday, June 17th, on all Amazon platforms in both ebook and hardback copy. I can't wait to share my journey with you guys as I discuss my particular journey and how I overcame sexual assault and incest in my family, and then how I too was able to take my pain and birth my purpose and actually break the generational curse over my entire family. I can't wait to share this book with you, as it is sure to change your life. I pray that anyone that reads this book or comes in contact with this book, their lives will forever be changed, and they too will have the boldness and the peace that this brings in sharing your truth and understanding that it's nothing to be ashamed of and nothing to feel bad about. We are who we are, and our journeys has made us who we are, and I can't wait to share mine with you. I love you guys very much, and thank you so much for your support. Bye.